Well, welcome back to this live broadcast celebrating what would have been Harry Chapin's 75th birthday here on December 7th. And we have just a long list of great guests coming up all day. But I have to tell you, this is one of the most favorite segments I've been looking forward to all day, because this dynamic group down in Southwest Florida at the Harry Chapin Food Bank of Southwest Florida were very much a big inspiration in my life and getting involved in what Harry talked about all those years. And on the line today, we've got the current president and CEO, Richard LeBer, and then some of the royalty, I would say, of the food bank down there in Southwest Florida, John Poelker, Hawley and his wife Joyce. And welcome all. I really appreciate you guys coming in and joining us for this broadcast. And yes, and John, I failed to mention, John, you're coming in by phone, everybody else is in by video.
Correct.
So go ahead, John.
That's correct. Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Well, first of all, where I thought we'd like to start is maybe just a little bit of background and a little bit of history. So John, Hawley, Joyce, you guys kind of really joined forces when this all kind of got started. And there's some really interesting backstories on how you ended up being really the first Harry Chapin Food Bank in many ways, at least in name.
Well, we got together, and as you say, Joyce and Hawley were there, and what I decided at a meeting, three of us actually, why not, pay back Harry? And by that I mean by naming the food bank, which was at that time the Southwest Florida Food Bank, renaming it as the Harry Chapin Food Bank, in his honor and in his memory. So I called Sandy Chapin, and we got the okay, and then Harry put together Hawley put together one of his Hawley botcha letters, as I call them, really good, and we got the official go-ahead. And that's how we renamed it officially the Harry Chapin Food Bank. And the rest took off from there, and Joyce and Hawley were the backbone of getting everything together. But that's how it took off, and I must admit that was one of my better ideas of naming it the Harry Chapin Food Bank.
Well, and you had an attachment to Harry. It wasn't just a fly-by-night idea you had, right?
Oh, no, I met Harry on Long Island. He lived a couple of miles from me. And, we'd go into the city together, and when he had meetings, and on Sundays, he'd always play at the high school when he wasn't on the road, and I'd make as many concerts as I possibly could. So we became friends and shared stories, and I got to know his family well, and there was a lot there. I admired him so much for following through on what he always said he was going to do. I mean, he was a real, pardon the expression, but a real ballsy guy.
Right.
He had a lot of guts. Okay. He wasn't afraid to go knocking on. One thing I remember is watching him in the halls of Congress. I mean, he'd bang on doors left and right. Senator Leahy, who he became good friends with, used to threaten other members of Congress that if you don't go along with this, I'm going to send Harry down to see you.
Right.
So anyway.
So Hawley and Joyce, why don't you just kind of give us an idea of what it was like trying to pull that all together? Because obviously starting a food bank isn't something you think about.
Going back 1990, I had a couple of the board members were church member friends of mine, said, there's why don't you apply for this job at the Southwest Florida Food Bank, Lee County Food Co-op. And I interviewed with John Poelker. And in that interview, John said, do you know Harry Chapin? And I said, well, not personally, but I know his music. He said, well, you know his commitment to hunger. And I said, not really. He said, well, Harry did one concert for himself and one for the other guy. He gave away half. And I was so impressed with that. And we went on, I got the job, and we came from less than nothing back then. We had no money in the bank. We had a lot of problems, but we made it and we stuck to it. And the first Chapin that came into us was John and I put together a concert with the original band, Steve Chapin and Big John Wallace. And at that one, we had, actually, we put our own money into it, and we lost money, but we gained a lot of things. And one of them was Bill Hornig, sitting right here with us.
Who came in from California.
Who called from California and said, I hear you're having a concert and I'd like to come.
Yeah.
So that put it all together, and I give those years, early years, it was people like Bill Hornig and people like John and others that had a vision, and we went by it, and we were successful.
And for myself, I'm sorry.
It's Richard. Didn't I hear a story that you guys took up a board of directors collection to buy a new wheel for a pallet jack once?
Yes, we
$60. Yes.
We were so poor, we only had one pallet jack, and the wheel broke, and they were $69. $69, and at the board meeting, I took up a collection and asked board members to throw in a few bucks so we could buy a wheel for the pallet jack.
And
Go ahead,
for
Joyce.
myself, John Poelker was a friend of mine. He had his Apple transportation business, Harry Keep the Change, and I would go over to his house and help him do some books and things like that. And he would preach to me, how Harry believed that no one in this country, in this world, should be hungry. And so he was involved in World Hunger Year, and he wanted me to get involved and do something. And that's how I took that leap. I became a board member, and the rest is history. But that all goes back to John and him carrying through with Harry's legacy.
That's awesome. So jumping over to you, Richard, let's fast forward here a few years. What is embodying the food bank today? It's come a long, long way, I know.
We've come a long, long way, Bill. I got here about a year and a half ago. I came to the food bank here in Southwest Florida from another food bank up in Atlanta. But just to give you a sense of it, last year we distributed 22 million pounds of food in Southwest Florida. After Hurricane Irma, we did 72 community distributions of food in a month. So we've come a long way from buying a wheel for the pallet jack.
Right.
And we did 135,000 pounds that first year. So
Yeah.
it's quite a growth.
So, I lay that, I can't take credit for that. I've been here a year and a half. I lay that at the feet of John and Hawley and Joyce and Albus Lane, who succeeded them, and just a wonderful team here. But we're so excited and proud to be carrying on Harry's legacy here in Southwest Florida. And, every day we get up and we get to work.
Exactly. Well, and to that regard, I mean, you have had kind of a tough year with the hurricanes and all of that. What has that done? Has it helped galvanize people, or maybe it's exposed people to this issue beyond even just what is the normal day to day?
No, I think it really has. I think it's brought the plight of hunger home to a lot of people, and there are a lot of people, in Southwest Florida who, may have given to us or thought sort of theoretically about hunger, but they never expected that they and their neighbors would personally need help from one another. And in that sense, it's been really touching and heartwarming to see the whole community come together and rally around the cause. So that's that. It's been a terrible tragedy, and a lot of people still suffering from it. But in that kind of sense, I think it's been a real rallying cry for the community. So that's really been cool.
All right. Well, guys, we're going to have to wrap it up. We've got a whole lineup of folks. I could sit here and talk to you and trade stories all day because I've got so much great affection and just great memories of what's gone on down there in Southwest Florida. So I really want to thank you, Richard, Joyce, Hawley, and John. I appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
It's nice to
You're
see
welcome.
We'll talk to you soon.
you. Okay, bye.
Right.
Okay. Have a good day.
And we'll be back in 5, and we'll have a few more great interviews coming up soon.